What's happening? And welcome to this Tuesday edition of the 24th Floor. On today's show, Faragi Phillips joins us as the newly minted coach of LeMoyne-Owen College basketball, plus an exclusive interview with Penny Hardaway you'll only find here on ABC 24. It's June the 3rd, and the 24th Floor starts now. Guest for today's show is LeMoyne-Owen College new head basketball coach Faragi Phillips. The Memphis native has appointed to the head coach position back in May. His new gig is today's big idea. Phillips is a former Memphis Tigers basketball assistant where he coached under Penny Hardaway. The pair go way back to Team Penny, the Hardaway AAU team. Phillips also coached at Vanderbilt under Jerry Stackhouse and spent 8 years as a head coach on the Memphis high school circuit, making Whitehaven and Mitchell powerhouses in the 901. We got a chance to visit Coach Phillips at LeMoyne-Owen College and discuss his journey to his first gig as a collegiate head coach. All right, Coach. You are the head men's basketball coach at LeMoyne-Owen College. What were kind of the thoughts and emotions just about getting your opportunity to be a head coach at the collegiate level?
Gratefulness, I'm thankful to my Lord and Savior. Obviously, I'm not here because of what I've been able to accomplish. I think it has a small part in it, the successes and the talents that I've been blessed with. But I think more so than anything, man, just God's grace and God's blessings has afforded me to be in this position.
What drew you to LeMoyne-Owen, and then separately, kind of how did you pitch yourself to be the head coach here?
I mean, the one thing that I could probably say that drew me here was the challenge. I looked at it as a challenge. I think LeMoyne-Owen basketball has a certain type of stigma that it has over the years, and one that hasn't always been positive or looked at it in a decent or good way. And so I looked at it as a challenge for myself to go in and create some magic, not to play on words, but to create some magic and try to accomplish some things that haven't ever been done in this school as it pertains to the basketball program.
When you say it has a stigma, what does that kind of mean? And I guess kind of give people an introduction to what LeMoyne-Owen College basketball is, what level you guys compete at, and then, where you guys compete in terms of conferences and stuff like that.
I mean, if you can go as far as back as Coach Jerry Johnson, who's a legend, not just in Memphis or Lemoyne, but in the game of basketball itself. And I think they had some prominent, really great years under his leadership as the coach here. And then obviously, followed it up with Coach Anderson, who's the AD now, has some really good years. But I think over the past few, there's been some hard times. Obviously, I think Bonzi did a tremendous job. But, collectively, I think there's been some difficult times that this program has had to face. And there's been some things that has, prevented the program, I think, from having some real success. And I think President Davis is moving in the right direction by the things that he's told me. And from what I can see, his vision and the innovative mindset that he has, I think great and better days are ahead for LeMoyne-Owen basketball program, but also for the institution as a whole. And
you guys, again, what level do you guys compete at? For those who are unfamiliar, you guys are an HBCU in the SIAC or the SIAC. Kind of explain what those things mean to people who may not be as familiar with those things.
Sure. Well, I think, it's very well known that HBCUs are, a big influence on our culture. But LeMoyne is the 5th oldest HBCU in the country. And again, that is a tremendous honor. But, we're a Division II school. We compete on the Division II level in the SIAC, and it's a competitive league. As a matter of fact, I met some of the coaches on yesterday at the conference meeting, and I'm excited about the season. I'm excited about the opportunity. But I'm also excited about the guys that I'm going to go up against, because there's some phenomenal coaches in this conference. And they do a great job, and so I'm excited about where we are in terms of our recruiting, the type of players that I've been able to get in contact with and communicate with, and some too who have commit the past few weeks. So I'm excited about it.
So, and you are an HBCU grad yourself. You went to Mississippi Valley State, right? What does it mean to you to have played at that level and now be able to coach at a level? And does it help you to relate to some of these guys that you are recruiting and hopefully coaching?
Absolutely, because it's kind of like full circle for me, right? I played at Mississippi Valley, had a tremendous opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament and play against Georgetown, who at that time had Allen Iverson in 1996. And now look at me years later, I've coached in the SEC for a great guy by the name of Jerry Stackhouse, who gave me my opportunity. I think, I owe everything, a debt of gratitude to him. He's kind of the genesis of my college career, and I learned so much from him. And then obviously having the opportunity to come back home and work with a friend of mine, Penny Hardaway, and we were able to accomplish some great things together. And, he taught me a lot of things as well. And so, I think that all plays into the part of me being able to reach these kids and let them know that, hey, I come from an HBCU, but look what that education and that institution afforded me to be in positions, to be in rooms, and to be in places that, normally I wouldn't be able to be. And so, it's not where you are at the particular time, it's the journey that you take to get there. And I'm so grateful and thankful that I was able to experience an HBCU. And I'm also grateful and thankful that the Lord has blessed me to be in a position to make a really good living out of this game of basketball. And I'm just trying to pay it forward to some young people that I can come in contact with throughout the next, few years or however long I'm here.
And you've really coached at quite literally every level. You started at the AAU level with Penny Hardaway, before coaching at high school level, before getting to the college ranks. What has each level of basketball kind of taught you? And then we'll kind of get into your relationships that have developed out of them then.
I started from elementary school. It was an elementary school here in Memphis at Levi Elementary, which is on 3rd. The principal by the name of Ava Taylor gave me my first opportunity as an educator. And I'm so thankful to her for believing in me and taking a chance on a college graduate who was rough around the edges. And then I took that opportunity and went to Lanier Middle School, which is here in Memphis, for Dr. Terrence Brown, the late Dr. Terrence Brown. God bless his soul in heaven. And then obviously I was able to go to Ridgeway Middle. That's where the success started to kind of happen for me. I won some state championships there, coached some great kids who are, great human beings to this day. And then obviously, the rest is history, as they say. I went to Mitchell and won some state championships there back to back and turned that program around and kind of did the same thing at Whitehaven. And so all of those opportunities and experiences has afforded me to be in this position. And again, it's not because of who I am. I coach for a living, but it's not who I am. I coach, to make money. I coach to help young people, but I am a follower of my servant, Jesus Christ, like never before. And so that's who I am. That's who I am. That's what I'm about. But, again, he's put me in a position to have some success, to live a life that I could only imagine and dream of. And I'm just, again, trying to pay it forward. And having my wife to understand that, hey, she has a godly husband. My children being an example to them as well. So it's everything, it's everything that I am about. It's every fabric of my being. And I don't take that for granted. And I make sure that I live every day to make him proud, to make my Lord and Savior proud.
So going back to that high school record real quick, a couple of state championships, a 91-30 record, I think, in your combined stages at Whitehaven, and wherever else you were. When you kind of got up to that next level, you obviously worked with Team Thad or Team Penny on the AAU level. Penny Hardaway brings you in, and Jerry Stackhouse bring you in. What did you learn from Jerry at Vanderbilt, and what did you learn from Penny at Memphis and those stops that you've had with him?
I think with Coach Stackhouse, I learned, the professionalism of the sport, and carrying yourself with professionalism, and understanding that, hey, Vanderbilt was a tremendous, prestigious academic institution. And so the professionalism that I learned there, also just how to be a pro, in every sense of the word, and he taught me so much about professionalism and how to be in rooms where, you feel comfortable talking to people that you might otherwise be around. And so the basketball part of itself took care, that was the obvious. I learned so much in terms of offense and how to, construct a practice and just the professionalism of having accountability for not just the players, but for coaches as well. And then obviously coming back home and working with Penny, a dear friend of mine who, we've been competitors for so long, through high school, and then, having the chance to work with him, it goes without saying, we were able to win some championships together and have some really good moments. And, I can't tell you how much I learned from him in just the day-to-day activities of making sure that you cross every T and dot every I. He taught me so many things that it pertains to just the daily activities of running a practice and understanding that, hey, you make sure that you put everything, every ounce of your being into what you're doing, and don't take for granted the day and the opportunity that you had before you.
As you take on this challenge of being the head coach at LeMoyne-Owen, what do you want to be known for? What do you want LeMoyne-Owen to be known for? Under my leadership, obviously we're going to do something that's going to reflect my faith. We're going to be a team that's going to have Bible study. We're going to be a team that's going to get out in the community and embrace, helping young people, helping our
young kids in this community and beyond. And then also, they're going to have a team that's going to reflect toughness, pride, instill some drive and discipline, and play with a certain professionalism that's going to reflect, what our president is about. And then, all of those things we hope can equate to some success and some wins, because they're going to come and go. But the longevity of having the professionalism and having some integrity and knowing, how to carry yourself and being great men when they leave here, that's the most important for me.
Coach, wish you the best of luck here at LeMoyne-Owen.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me.
Thanks to Coach Phillips for sitting down with us. We got to take a short break, but when we come back, an exclusive interview with Tigers basketball head coach Penny Hardaway. He was in the Michael Morrison streaming studio sharing his journey to the head coach position. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss that.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24+. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24+. The 24+ TV app, streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24+, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. Those storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
That's how big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24+. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24+. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24+. Download free on your TV now.
Welcome back. We know plenty about Penny Hardaway, the basketball player, and Penny Hardaway, the coach. Not as many know about Penny Hardaway, the man of faith. In an exclusive interview, Dr. Kenneth Whalum sat down with Penny to discuss how his faith plays such a part in everything else he does with the Tigers program.
My faith has always been the same. I watched my grandmother work 2 jobs. I watched her and heard her talk about how she was blessed, why we were blessed, how we were getting things, how things were working for us was because of God. And from that point on, obviously she instilled that in me, and my faith has never wavered from that point forward with her.
And you were with her starting at age 4 or 5 years old?
5 years old.
And as a 5-year-old, Penny, talk about what it was like to have her talk about God, and you're a little kid. What did that do? How did it feel? You probably still remember the feeling of it at that time.
Yeah, it's unreal because, I was living with my mother, and this is no knock on my mom or my aunt, but it was never anything in that home about going to church or things of that nature. When I got with my grandmother, that lets you know God had a journey for me along. Well, we already know that story. But to be going to
Talk about that story.
I mean, my aunt and my mom were young, and they were really still trying to live their life, and it wasn't a faith-based life from what I could hear, as early as I could hear from 4 or 5 years old. But as soon as I moved in with my grandmother, I understood what God meant to her, what it had to mean to me, and what it meant to me, what it meant to my family. And it just, as I grew older, I started to understand more and more how important God was in our lives and how he was the one that was blessing us and putting us in position to continue to be successful.
And every time, Penny, I'm looking at that picture you sent me, every time you are interviewed, pre-game, post-game, win or lose, you start every encounter with some words to the effect of, I just want to thank God for that. Why do you do that, and how do you see people reacting to it?
I do it every time because I really truly believe it. That's how I was raised. It was like I really believe that everything that I have and who I am is all because of God. All of the great things that he's done for me because I know where I came from, and the life lessons that he's taken us through to be closer to him. I do that because I believe it. Does it bother some people? Probably. You know, everybody's not going to agree with, you know, with the faith or whatever. But for me, that's my foundation, and that's how I grow. That's how I live. And I have to do a win, lose, or draw, because no matter what, he still loves us, and he's still the reason why we're in the position.
Talk about that. You say win, lose, or draw. And I realize that there are kids who, if they are not surrounded with the kind of upbringing you had, and they hear people say, they pray to God before the game, Lord, let us win, Lord, let us win.
Mm-hmm.
And then it doesn't turn out that way.
Right.
They don't win. They lose. Talk about how your faith in God informs your ability to deal with losses in life, not just games.
Absolutely, because at an early age, you think, well, God is only going to do for you. Like if we're going into a game, we're going to win just because, you know, we love God and we know God. But, you know, the win out of the entire thing is the blessing to be able to play the sport. That's, to me, is the win. And then when you pray and don't get the win, then you say to God, there's a message in why we didn't win this game, whether it's to draw me closer to you or to make me change my habits or change things to continue to grow, because there's always going to be a storm before the sun. And that's how I look at it. So I'm able to deal with those losses more, because I used to be a guy that lost, like, man, we lost, man. It was like the end of the world. And then my faith kicked in and was like, it's really not the end of the world, because you're still healthy. There's a lot of people out there going through way more problems than you are. And you're able to play a game that you love. Who gets to do what they love. And even if you lose the game, my job now as a coach is to win ball games. But it's not the end of the world, because there's so many people dealing with so many different things out there.
You talk about your job, and people somehow don't quite get it. They don't quite get the fact that your job is one thing, your journey with God is another thing. What you just talked about, I put little Kenneth back on the screen, because you didn't just develop that self-awareness to be able to know that you're not going to always win. But your responsibility in dealing with little kids in your camp and dealing with young men in your basketball programs, part of your responsibility is to convey that lesson to them. How do you do that? In what ways do you convey that to them?
Yeah, that is a responsibility that I wear proudly, because you have to always shine your light, because it's bigger than the sport. The sport is given us as a blessing, and you have to see it as a blessing. It's not, I'm just playing basketball. It's a blessing to be able to play the game. And when I deal with like your grandson, little Kenneth, I have to let them know that it's okay, because God says it's okay. And if God says it's okay, then you're okay. And that your faith can lead you through all the tough times. Just talking about, just quickly, the young man that killed himself, the Lacey.
At LSU.
Yeah. And it's like someone, and I'm not saying no one did, but at some point he felt like no one cared. No one was there. So everything that I do is to tell a young man how proud I am of him, young lady, how proud I am of her. I love you. God loves you. No matter what anybody says, if you have bullies, if you have people talking negatively, if you have anything negative going on, then just know that God is your resource and will always be your resource.
And is that, man, I'm glad you brought that up. I had a first cousin who committed suicide, and who had previous to that, he called me and he just had all these questions, man. He had all these questions, and I was doing the best I can, but I didn't know the answers to the questions. But what you said is key. He felt like nobody cared about him and nobody was there. When you come across that situation and you've done the best you can to convey that your personal sense of faith to them, how do you move on? How do you release it? How do you let it go when it doesn't appear to be taking root in that young person?
Yeah, what I do is I say to God, thank you for allowing me to be a voice. Thank you for being the light for me so people can see it through me, because you have to see it through me. If it doesn't work to the next person, then I'm comfortable with that, because I know I did my best. And it's with anything. If you do your best, then you can be okay with doing your best. You didn't give in, you didn't give up. You supported, you gave a lending ear, you talked, you did everything you could, and if the person just rejected it, you just got to continue to pray for that person, that God touches their heart to have them understand what's really real and what's not. And it goes back to the things that you can control. Most people's problems are over the things that they can't control. That's a lot of things where everybody worries about, and if you leave it in God's hands, He don't give you a spirit of worry. You know what I mean? And that worrying spirit is just not good. So if I've done what I was supposed to do, I can pray and say, God, thank you for giving me the ability to try to reach this person. If it didn't reach them, then you will definitely reach them if they will allow it. Hopefully they will sooner than later.
I have heard you say on many occasions that when you got this job at University of Memphis, losing would affect you one way, what people said around you would affect you a certain way. At what point did you get to the place where it just didn't bother you as much as it bothered you in the past?
When I found out that how blessed I was, secondly, that it really didn't matter what they thought. I respect everyone's opinion, but it shouldn't matter to the point where it shuts me down. Because if it shuts me down, I can't be who I need to be for the people who I'm leading. You know, I have to lead. So when you lead, you cannot wallow in the sorrow of people just saying, hey, that's their opinion. When you realize everyone does have an opinion, how you receive it is differently. It's different. So that's when I became okay with. People would come up to me all the time. Man, don't listen to social media. Don't listen to these people. I don't even hear it or read it, but even they would bring it, and I would go, man, God bless everybody, man. I love everybody. You know, you guys know how much I love my city and why I'm doing this, and then that made me be more comfortable with handling it.
Just a fascinating interview. You can catch the entirety of it on our website, abc24.com, or check it out right here on the ABC 24 Plus app. Coming up, we go all aboard with the Memphis Showboats in their final game of the season. Stick around.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24 Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24 Plus. The 24 Plus TV app. Streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24 Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. Those storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
How big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24 Plus. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24 Plus. Download free on your TV now.
Welcome back. The Memphis Showboat season wrapped up on Sunday, perhaps mercifully. One of the two wins they've had on the season came in overtime against the Birmingham Stallions this season, so you had to feel good about getting Birmingham at home for a second go-round. Let's go to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. First drive of the game, and it's 3rd and long. Sometimes you just need to throw a short throw to get a big result. Dresser Wynn finds Kai Loxley for 14 yards, moves the sticks, and the Boats get an opening drive field goal out of it. Stallions would gallop their way right down the field on their opening drive. Jamar Smith, check this, with a wobbler to Jay Sternberger. He'll get knocked out at the 2-yard line. That's 37 yards. And the very next play is Ricky Person Jr. Give him the handoff inside the 5. He punches it in. Stallions up 6-3 after a failed 2-point conversion. Next possession for the Boats. Dresser Wynn looking right. Hit as he throws. We're playing beach volleyball. That one's batted twice in the air. It into the arms of Tay Crowder, and all he sees is real estate. One of 2 pick sixes Crowder would have on the day. Stallions stampeded to a 13-3 lead. Second quarter, Boats put together a solid drive right into your living room. That's Deneric Prince with a Royal Rumble to a touchdown, makes it 13-9. That's about as good as it would get, though. Showboats get shipwrecked the rest of the game. 46-9, the final score, and a 2-8 record on the season.
Now that they've made me the head coach this season, I appreciate that, and I love meeting all these guys, and that was my job. And I really did enjoy that part of it, you know. It's hard to stand in front of them when you're not winning, and so you got to be creative And so, and I was creative with it, to keep it interesting this year. And I think that's important,
The Southern Heritage Classic will look a little different this year. The matchup features Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Alcorn State for the first time. Just as important as the game itself is the tailgate, and tickets for tailgating go on sale June the 6th. Only 500 spots available, and Southern Heritage Classic founder Fred Jones says they go real quick.
Tailgating is a really, really big deal with the Southern Heritage Classic. And I just had to reiterate this point. There's a lot of construction out at the stadium, and things are changing as far as the stadium is concerned. Doesn't affect the game itself. But as for tailgating spots, none are affected. It's business as usual. We go on sale June the 6th at 10 a.m. Central Time. And I had to say that because things go so fast. We only have 500 spots, but that's 500 spots of tremendous energy, the best family environment that you could have, all types of music, all types of food, a lot of fun, a lot of fellowship, and a lot of family reunions that happen during the Southern Heritage Classic. So again, that's on sale Friday, June 6th at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com.
We put a bow on the show coming up, but with the last thing is the best thing that I saw this week.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24+. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24+. The 24+ TV app. Streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24+. Complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. Those storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
How big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24+. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24+. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene, faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24+. Download free on your TV now.
Hey, you ain't telling me the hockey puck's going flying over here, man. Oh, oh, what are you folks going crazy, boy? Hey, yeah.
Best thing I saw this week is Carolina Panthers receiver Xavier Legette. He was invited to the NHL Eastern Conference Finals for his first ever hockey game, and it was hilarious. His accent, his reactions, his energy is all just so genuine, and there's something about a football player going to hockey games that just feels so right. He is this generation's Marshawn Lynch. I am very convinced. Hilarious stuff. Well done, Bleacher Report. That'll do it for today's show. Big thanks to Faragi Phillips for tapping in with us. Thanks to Rich Denson and Jared Robinson for all their hard work behind the scenes. We're back on Thursday. Until then, I will see you later.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 24+ app everywhere you stream.